You have to have the right mindset to know that it's not going to be all this money in the beginning, because it's going to be a lot of um, stability and making sure that you are shortening yourself and not taking away from the business, but also being that perfect stylist for your clients that's sitting in your chair and monitoring the people that work for you.
Thank you so much, Marcia, for joining us on the Salon Chat today. And I just want you to tell our listening audience a little bit about you, how long you've been in the industry, and just tell us a little bit about your 2.0 salon that you've been talking to me about.
All right, my name is Marcia G. Lee. I have been in the industry for 32 plus years. I have been a salon owner for 22 plus years as well. And we are currently at Mari Marchi 2.0 Salons and Suite, and that's located in the High Park area at 5229 South Woodlawn, where we service, we do full service, a full service salon. We have a threader, waxing, nails, pedicures, hair, and barbering. I currently am a hairstylist there, but also a licensed instructor for Aloxi International, that I've been with them currently for about 7 years. So I go to private salons or schools and teach them our product knowledge of color, because we all know that color is color. So we just teach them our niches and, you know, different things that we have, what sets us apart from other color companies. Been in the industry, working on opening up a school soon. But I am excited about being on here with you, Sharon, and just excited about our future in this industry.
We're talking about don't open a salon before you do this. And the before you do this are 5 key points that we want to touch on in this video. You go to cosmetology schools and you talk to students, because I'm a licensed instructor as well, and you ask them, you know, what do they want to do when they get out of school? And the first thing that about 80% of them say is, but you have to have the right mindset. And so when I think about mindset, Marcia, I think about having the leadership mindset that it takes to open up a salon. Because if you're going to lead other people in the salon industry, there's so many different things that you need to focus on. One is leadership. Another one that you need to focus on is making sure that this is really what you want to do. Because you can say you want to open up a salon, but it may not be the right thing for you just yet until you get a little bit more experience behind your belt. Because opening a salon, we both know owning a salon is a lot of work. What is your take on having the right mindset, Marcia?
For me, I think that, you know, to piggyback off what you said, that having that right mindset, I honestly feel like that they do need to have some business courses, take a few business courses, whether it's at a small college or something like that, where they can, you know, use that tool, as you said, as being a leader, because you have to have some business experience. Also, the marketing aspect and that financial stability. When you don't have those finances behind you, they assume that, oh, I'm going to come out making all this money, I'm going to open up my own salon, and nothing taken from that. For me, I opened my first salon when I was 27. I had no clue, had a business partner, and you know, thinking because we both had the money that's all we needed. But you have to know how to lead other people, that leadership skill, like you said, being able to run the salon, but also work in the salon. So that's a big step for a lot of students that are coming out of the school thinking that, you know, that I can run a salon because I work in the salon, so it's going to be great. We're going to make all this type of money. And in this industry, it's really not about the money. It's the love that you have behind it. So your mindset, like you said, you have to have the right mindset to know that it's not going to be all this money in the beginning, because it's going to be a lot of stability and making sure that you are shortening yourself and not taking away from the business, but also being that perfect stylist for your clients that's sitting in your chair and monitoring the people that work for you.
I'm sitting here thinking about you and your salons and me and the salon that we own, David and I own in the South Loop area. And I'm thinking about when we're talking about mindset, we have to think about our families too, right? Because I know you have a family, you have girls, you have a husband, you have kids. And so you know, when you're coming out of school, you might be a little younger, so you might not have all of that going on, right? So you have to really consider those things when you're talking about mindset and opening a salon. So what is your take, having several salons and you actually being in the right mindset? How do you kind of maintain some type of balance in your lifestyle owning your salon?
Especially like you said, when you're being a partner, a co-partner, having a spouse and children, you got to sit down with your family, with your husband, your spouse, and find out what responsibilities they're going to take on and what responsibilities you're going to be able to take on in your salon aspect and being at home. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you have these children out here, you got to be mommy mode when you go home. You're tired, you might be overworked, and if you're a good stylist, then you have a huge clientele or really good clientele, so you still have to be that person. So those different hats that you're wearing, from the salon owner, from the stylist, from the spouse, from the mom, you have to figure out what part of those sacrifices that you're going to have to make and keep you motivated to still run the business and be that leader that you need to keep the business flowing in the direction that you want it to flow in, and keep the professionalism going, keep your home life together. So it's a lot of sacrifices that you're going to make, but you try to do the best that you can do. And like you said, it's really no way to pinpoint like what is going to take up this area of expertise and what area is going to cover that. It all just kind of collaborate together. And the last thing is just making sure that you keeping God in your life, because you got to be strong and be healthy, eating right, keeping your family together, but also being that leader that you need to run a business properly.
Yeah, that is awesome, because you made me think about a lot of things about taking care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot, especially being an entrepreneur, and people I think associate just running a chair and running a salon suite, but then when they go to the next level and open a full service salon, it just takes on a whole nother layer of business ownership when that happens. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, for me, like I said, when I started out at 27, I had no clue, so I learned by process of elimination. I learned by experience. I wish I had someone to tell me, hey, you need to do this, and that. Opening my second location, I then went into building a business plan, writing down my ideas and my goals, my first year goal, my third year goal, my 5th year goal, my 10-year goal. Like, you have to have goals and challenges, things that you may arise, have that little cushion to the side, that financial cushion that you need to the side. It's just so many aspects from that you don't even think about, and things that you may come into. Things happening at the salon, water running out, the water heater breaking down, your plumbing and electric going bad, and now you need somebody, and you got a whole staff looking at you like, oh, we don't have any hot water, or the heat went out, so you have to be just very strong, and you learn your strength through the experiences that you're going to go through being a salon owner, and it just keep you on your toes.
You just talked about so many things that can come up outside of just paying the rent, right?
Yes.
So many things that, because we had our salon and things would come up, the hot water, you on a busy day in the salon on a Saturday, and everybody is using the water simultaneously, and the client is like, this water is getting cold. And so you realize that your hot water heater is not big enough to sustain all the hairstylists that you have in the salon, right? When we're talking about the money aspect of the salon and opening a salon, do you want to have a large salon? Do you want a smaller salon studio with maybe 2 or 3 hairstylists? Or do you want a large, you've dealt with a very large salon. I came in your salon one day, I'm like, it's a lot of people in here. So you definitely had to have the right mindset to open a huge salon like you did, that you had for 10 years in the South Loop area. What do you think about the money, when it comes to the money, and how we have to think before opening a salon?
For me, key thing, like you said, you have to know what your challenges are, what you think you can deal with. Again, do you want to do a small studio and see how you work well by yourself, and then grow into a much larger salon? When I first started out, I had a 8 station salon back in 97, and that was currently that at that time I opened it in Atlanta, in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And so for me, it was a small setting. You're dealing with the smaller aspect, but again, I feel like you need to have money saved up, at least 6 months of capital in your bank account for those rainy days, for if your water heater goes out, if the electric goes out. I mean, we've been in the salon where the electric turned off on one side of the street, and so there were salons across the street from us. Fortunately, we were able to go over there, but you have to think about all of those occurrences, all of those delays that may happen. The water heater was good, but we've had it for so long, and now it went out. What do you do then when you on a Thursday night and the water goes out? How do you figure that out? And the people are telling you that they can't bring you another water heater until Monday. So those aspects, and just knowing that as a leader, you have to teach your staff and be the communication with your staff to show them like, hey, this is not my fault. Yes, I have to take on this responsibility, but at the same token, I need you guys to be mindful that we have to figure something else out. So again, that leadership role, you'll learn the different aspects of that leadership. You'll learn the different aspects of the financial stability of it, and just having that overall confidence in yourself to know that sometimes you do need somebody like a salon consultant to help you through these things that you may go through.
I don't want to discourage anyone from opening a salon. That is not what this video is about. Because everybody, if you want to, can have a salon. But you have to have these things in place. So we talked about the mindset. We talked a little bit about the money. And when I think about marketing, the first thing I think about is exactly what area do you want your salon in? Like, I worked out south before we opened our salon. I worked out south my whole career, but I wanted a more diverse area. And so my idea of opening a salon was be able to service everybody, all walks of life, be it Asians, Caucasians, African Americans, Latinas, whatever the case may be. Hair is hair. And you just got to figure out how to work on that type of hair. You got to figure out how to cut it, how to color it, how to maintain it, how to style it. But that's the first thing I thought about when I opened my very first salon, because I had always worked on, I can do anybody's haircut, but working on just my nationality of hair, I wanted to get out of that. So we decided we wanted to be in the South Loop area. And people kept telling us, no, it's too expensive. And I just kept telling myself, and that's another thing. Don't let anybody ever talk you out of the area that you want to be in. Like, it needs to make sense with your budget. It needs to make sense with what type of salon you want to open. Are you opening a high-end salon, or are you opening maybe a little mid to low-level salon that still can be an amazing looking salon based on how the decor and the energy that's inside of the salon. But what are your thoughts on the money aspect? Like, having you mentioned having enough money set aside to pay for that rent for 6 months. Because like David and I, we started out with just the two of us in the salon. So only our income was paying for all the bills. What do you think about that, Marcia?
For me, it was just me. When I moved back to Chicago, now again, I did have a business partner when I was down in Atlanta, and I thought that, us having the money to buy the stuff, to set the salon up, and then when it happened, I went down there, and her goals were not my goals. This was my livelihood. She was a client of mine, and she just happened, to have someone to help her with the funding, but it didn't happen. So like you said, when that marketing and that money come in, we didn't have a staff. So it was us trying to figure out how we're going to get these people in the salon. And the technology back then in 97, we didn't have what we have now, where we're able to do this podcast over the internet. Internet was there, but it was AOL, and you had to dial up the internet. You know what I mean? So I know I'm taking us way back, Sharon. But we didn't have the aspect. It was just word of mouth, and you would talk to people and say, "Hey, I'm opening up a hair salon. Do you know anybody?" "Oh, my girlfriend." So again, it was who you know, and not being able to use our new world of technology of being on a computer and posting on social media and emails, and referring it from big corporations or big business owners that you may have known. And it was really hard for us to get the people in the salon. I don't, like you said, not discouraging anybody, but when you're trying to build that rapport and build that business up to say, hey, this is what you need. You got to have A, B, C, and D. You got to have the mindset. You got to have the money to put in for those rainy days, or just when you don't have the people to work for you. Anybody can open up a salon, but to put those people inside of that space with you, that's going to take time. And I think for a lot of the kids that are coming out of school, they're like, yeah, I'm going to open up a salon. I'm going to have 10 chairs. I'm going to make all this money. And you're in there, and 6 months later, you're still in there by yourself. So what happens then? Because now it's only your income that's covering that salon space, and you have 1,500 square feet, and your rent is $2,000 a month. You're pulling in maybe $1,500 a month to, maybe $3,000. You have all your other bills: your phone bill, your light bill, your gas bill, your the marketing, the garbage to be disposed in the back of the building. Some of those things come with the building, and some of them don't. So that takes a large toll on people when they have those expectations are not met.
I'm thinking about everything that we went through, and I was a booth renter for like over 10 years. People kept asking me, Sharon, you doing this in the industry, you doing that industry, when you gonna open up this salon? Every time I would see somebody who I've been knowing since I got into the industry, they would be like, when are you gonna open up your own salon? When it's time. Yeah. I was not rushing.
Yeah.
I was making my coins, 5 figures a month.
Yes.
Right in my booth rental space, saving my money, because you got to think about how much money you're going to have to open the salon. Are you going to get a loan? And like, again, a lot of people are not actually collecting, and we learned this over the quarantine. They're not collecting emails from their clients. They're communicating with clients over the internet, over these social media spaces, but the social media spaces own that information. We don't own that information. So it's very important when you're talking about marketing your salon that you actually get information. You collect your own data.
Yep.
You become your own data machine, collecting their emails, their birthdays, their information. Because I remember back in the day, part of my marketing consisted of these little
client profile cards.
Yeah, exactly.
I still do that.
Postcards that I would mail out, birthday cards, reminder cards, I miss you cards.
Yeah.
thank you for coming to the salon for the very first time. And that can be done so much easier. You know how hard that was for us to do
I
that?
know. I know. I just, when
And
you
now
said
all
that,
you
I'm
have to
like,
do
oh my God. Yeah.
is click a button and you
Yes.
send it to 100, 150 clients all at one
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So that is huge with the marketing aspect of it. Can you tell us some ways in how you market your salon right now, Marcia?
Like you said, back in the day, that's how we did our marketing, and I just got a headache when you said that. But now I use a software system that I've probably been using over 15 years. We do social media marketing. We also, we use our Instagram and Facebook. But for the most part, I use the software package through Vagaro. The system, prior to that, I had Spa Booker for 10 years, and then they got sold out with a different software package that just wasn't conducive for us, and it didn't give us the same thing that we had. So with Vagaro, like you said, we're able to do email blasts, we're able to do text messaging blasts. We send out when our clients come, they get an email right after their services saying thank you for coming out and see us. If we have clients that have not been to us in over 30 days, it'll send them a miss you email. We still do word of mouth. We still do marketing where if you refer a referral system, where they will that person who did the referral, they'll get a discount service. We send out referrals through email blast as well. So we try to keep up with all of our marketing strategies. I started doing hair in the late 80s, so we didn't have social media. We didn't have Instagram. So we used to take pictures and put it in a portfolio book, and that was our salon book for clients to see your work. We weren't able to post our pictures on Instagram and Facebook. We would give our clients cards to referral cards. So when they gave our business card out, or when they saw our clients hair, they're like, "Oh, where'd you get your hair done?" So those things we didn't have. So we are so fortunate right now, and all the salon owners to be, because at the end of the day, Sharon and I, we're getting older, so we want you guys to open up a salon, but we definitely want you to be prepared and to have the knowledge that we didn't have, because ours was process of elimination, and it was the things that our experiences that taught us what we know now. And I'm still learning with this social media. It's a lot. You get off of work and now you got to post these pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all these social media sites and Twitter, to keep ourselves relevant. So it's a great tool. Use those things to keep your marketing strong, and you can't just do it one time. You can't do it, oh, I did it for 3 days. Oh, I did it for 2 hours today. No, you have to keep going and keep yourself relevant to stay in this industry.
That was really good. When I think about marketing and social media, like most of my clientele was built off of referrals. Like you saw somebody's head and they need to get your hair done, which really still happens a lot today.
Yes. It does.
Yeah, but you do have to stay on top of that social media. And I can be guilty of that sometimes too, but I'm working on it, especially with having an online business. You have to stay on top of it, but you can't let it overwhelm you,
No.
And then they have, I want to piggyback on what you said about Vagaro. I use Vagaro too. I've been using it for some years. So it's like what you said about setting up your emails to go out. I mean, that's, even though it doesn't come with it set up already, but it's so simple, because once you set it, you can just forget it, And also with your color, if your client gets color every 6 weeks, it reminds them it's time to get color. So it's so many different ways that you can use marketing. And we open hair salons, and to me, the most challenging times when we didn't have all of this marketing and all of this technology to help with our clients and running our business. So it does make it easier in the marketing section, and when it comes to opening your salon. Let's talk talked a little bit about mentorship and how important having a mentor, as you spoke a little bit about it earlier, having someone who actually can help you. And it doesn't really have to be someone that, like, I'm talking to you, you might be my mentor. It could be somebody that you follow online. I know back in the day, there was a very popular magazine called Shop Talk. I know you're familiar with that.
Yes.
And there were a lot of salon owners that I watched for years. I read their articles. I read their, we didn't have the internet, so I read their magazine articles, American Salon, Modern Salon, and just really going in trying to figure out exactly what type of salon I wanted to modern my salon after. If it was an individual or they had a high-end salon, how could I take some of those aspects and put it in my maybe mid-level salon where, you know, my furniture is not $50,000. You know, I might buy furniture for $10,000, but how can I make it look like $50,000, you know? So having a mentor, and even if they're a mentor from Instagram or a mentor from Twitter, how important to you is that, having a mentor when you're opening your salon for the first time?
It's something that is totally needed. I do have a consulting business, salon consulting business as well, where I do mentor, you know, new salon owners or salon owners that have been in the business and they're trying to get back relevant. Those salon owners that's just starting out, and just different things like what chair to use, what mat to stand on. Again, you always want to make sure that you have good people around you in your circle, you know, people that will help you. And one of our biggest challenges that I feel like a lot of stylists or salon owners, they're afraid to ask for help. For me, I have always been known that I talk too much. I tell too much of my business in the industry, and I've been that person that have always, oh, this is where I got my floors from. This is the contractor that I use. Oh, you can order your stations from here, or go online and do this. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's not that you're failing. That, to me, that makes you much more of a great business owner when you show people your honesty and your humility is a little bit there to say that I need help. I don't know everything. None of us know everything. I learn from my stylists all the time. I'm always asking them for ideas and different advices, because I wasn't that social media person. I was that word of mouth person and built my clientele that way. So I needed that aspect of, oh, how did you do this? Or how did you do that? Girl, I went to this place and got that. And it helped me such a long way as a salon owner, as a business owner, and just building my brand, building my business, building my team, because now you have a team behind you that supports you and want to be a part of your team because they see that you're doing those new and innovative things.
Think about two things, because I'm such a giving person, because if anybody ever asks me, like you mentioned, where to get your floors done, so many people don't want to share that information. And I feel like if it's an upcoming hairstylist, younger hairstylist that really needs to know, I'm just like, you know what, this is what you need to do. That's what you need to do. But when I think about, you know, hairstylists really wanting to open their salons, but they're first starting off with either a booth rental situation, the best thing to do is actually, you mentioned earlier, which was a very good point, was to find a salon with a good leadership, right? Yeah. Find a salon with someone like Sharon or someone like Marcia that can kind of lead you in that direction, because they understand that you're not going to be there forever, working in their salon forever. If you find that salon with the leadership that can help you understand business and help you run your own chair, and so that you're not, I always say, you're not hobbying hair, you're really running your chair. So there's a difference in hobbying hair and running your chair. It's a huge difference. So finding that mentor, finding that one person, or those couple of people where you can really understand about business, because it's not just about how to do hair. it's not just about using these hands. We got to start learning how to think for ourselves, learning how to understand business. And also, you mentioned earlier, Marcia, which is a very good idea, is to take a couple of business classes. Even though I do have a business degree, I didn't learn a lot about how to run a business with my business degree, but just the information that I did learn, being in college, the discipline, it really helped me run my business and open a salon.
My background is political science and accounting, so I have a degree in both of those from college, like you said. But that political science, that law background, that helped me with contracts and leases, and the accounting aspect basically was those numbers, that number game, helping you with numbers to make sure if you can, that space that you're renting out and the income that's coming in, let's make sure though that you're able to afford the space that you're going in, to talk to people, to help you understand the business aspect. Like you said, what we went to school for, it may not have been everything that we needed, but every aspect of what you learn from taking up a business course, it has helped with the foundation of you being a salon owner and a business owner.
That is very true. I totally agree with that. Because you really also learn as you go as well. We didn't know everything before we started. And like you said, I learned a lot from the hairstylists that worked in my salon.
It was great reward for me. My staff, when they left, they opened their own space. They didn't go to another salon. They opened their own business. So it was like the big bear, the mama bear and her cubs leaving and learning from, and every last one of them told me, I learned so much from you, and I'm using these tools and these aspects of what I learned and foundations that you had in your space for me to carry on in my own space. Not one of them left and went to another salon. They all went and opened their own space. Whether it was a salon suite or a traditional salon, they opened their own business. And I took pride in that, because I wanted to make sure that I can help them in every way, every aspect. And I always left my door open for whatever they needed to put in their own space.
That is true. And I just kind of want to say that these tips can also be great for someone opening their own salon suite, not necessarily someone opening a large salon as well. Very last thing, which is like the icing on the cake, Marcia, right? Mm-hmm. Is having that right team, attracting that right team, because, when you think about owning a salon, you want to be that leader. You want to be that person that's kind of really well developed as far as your personal development is concerned, as far as studying the aspects of the industry, not just, again, working with your hands. But when we think about members or team members and attracting the right people, we want to be that person first, right? When you think about team members and you think about what type of salon you want to have, will it be commission structure salon? Will it be a booth rental salon? When you open your salon, what was your first thought of attracting those team members, and how you would actually lead them in what type of structure of salon did you open?
When I first opened my salon, I definitely looked into the booth rental aspect, because that is what I traditionally was around. I've always worked in booth rental salons. Prior to opening the salon in Atlanta, which was my first salon in '97, we went into a booth rental aspect. I didn't even, the introduction of commission based or salary based is what I learned when I had my salon in Atlanta, and I was learning the different aspects of that. I did look into that, and try to bring that aspect into the forefront when I then moved back to Chicago and carry on the salon in '98 here. It still was kind of a little scary for me, so I stayed with the booth rental aspect. And those are the things that you have to think about if you want to go commission. I did start out with some of my staff that they didn't have a clientele base. And so what do? How do you bring those people in if they don't have a client? So I had to have half booth rent and then half commission, or some commission and, mostly booth rent. And it worked out well because you saw those stylists that coming out of school that didn't have that clientele, and they were able to feel like that they were a part of the team, that they mattered too, and they were relevant because now they're building their clientele. They're looking up to the staff that already has a clientele base, and they're watching their work and they're shadowing them and learning from all of us from every aspect. And as a leader, that is the type of business format that you want to go with, because at the end of the day, your team and your salon and your business starts from the head, which is the salon owner. And if you want to be professional, you have to exemplify that professionalism. If you want a dress code, if you want a certain type of music to be played in your salon, if you want a certain type of look to have in your salon, you have to represent that part. So you have to be that person. Like you said, you have to present yourself in that manner when you're interviewing your people, when you are speaking to them. Don't change up. You can't be your staff friends. We can be cool, but when we come back to work, we are co-workers. We're not friends outside, and you have to set that bar, because when you set that bar with your staff, then it's going to be a successful business. Not saying that everything is going to be perfect, but you're trying to do the best that you can and bring that into your forefront. So you have those aspects, and you have to know what it is that you want to do. If you have people that are coming in and they're not where they need to be, then I would suggest you start them out on commission. If they have a clientele base, now what I do is, instead of commission, I do booth rent in tiers. So I start them at a lower booth rent because it's still money coming in to cover the structure of the business. And we know that booth renters and booth rent covers your business, but your income comes from your retail and your things that you're bringing, things that are outside of the booth rent. Like you said, you're selling stuff, or you're selling your products, or you have other things that you're retailing. That's where you make your income from. You don't make your income from booth rent. That just covers your business and to be sustainable as a business owner. So I could go on and on and on when we talk about that, building that team and that structure. But it's a whole lot with that. And I tell people all the time when I consult with them, let's sit down and let's talk about this, because it's not going to happen in 30 minutes or an hour. That's going to take a little bit more time with that. So yeah,
that is so true, because you talked about the head. The leader is the one who's going to create the culture. We had to create the culture in our salon. Even though our salon is closed now, people still remember that culture. They remember what this culture was. And we were responsible for creating that culture, and not only creating it, but allowing the hairstylists to kind of add to the culture. Yeah. But with us creating it, we had to allow and just inspire, motivate them, and encourage them to keep that culture the way we wanted it. And a lot of times, sometimes people find out that they don't fit in your culture when you're talking about team members. Yeah. And if a person doesn't fit in your culture, then, you just need to part ways. There's no hard feelings. Nobody is upset. It's kind of like a marriage. When it's over, it's over, right? It's over. Yeah. So just thinking about, a lot of times commission structure based compared to booth rent or salary, as you mentioned, you have to really think about, as a salon owner, which one of those are you going to have the most patience with? Yeah. If you're having someone come in and they're right out of school, you got to have patience with that person. You got to, provide that TLC, because they need a little love, because it's not all about the money in the beginning. Like you said, you have, which I really never heard of, which is a very good idea, having booth rental tiers. And because that person is, they're thinking at the end of the day, their mind is focused on getting that booth rent as opposed to growing a business. Yes. Because we just constantly focusing on, I got to pay my booth rent. I got to pay my booth rent. You can't even relax and enjoy the process of growing a business in the industry if you want to get to six figures. Yeah. So I think that's a really good, important point that you mentioned. And it needs to stick with that person opening a salon. Is this really what I want? So we started off talking about the mindset and just understanding what type of mindset you want to be in. So if you're dealing with commission basis, booth rent, those are two different people, in the industry, and two different levels or several different levels in the industry. And then we went in talking about the money aspect of opening a salon. Like, where are you going to start? How much money do you have? Do you have enough, like Marcia mentioned, to pay for 6 months of your rent? Because you also mentioned a good thing a few seconds ago, is that booth rent is just paying for the business. It's not any extra. It may just cover your income for paying that rent, right?
Yeah.
And then we went
you may become that booth renter. Sometimes when you're opening that business, you are a booth renter. You're covering until your bills can come. And now with COVID, really after COVID really made me look at something different, not with booth rent and tiers, and now you want to charge a daily rate because some people are not working every day. So now you're coming up with different ideas to help you just to keep your business afloat, because we had to close down our biggest salon. So we had 24 people in there, and COVID struck, and it was, what do you do? So how do you make these people still feel comfortable and still want to come back to work? Like you said, you don't want people to be stressed out about paying their booth rent or figuring out how they're going to survive. Because at the end of the day, like you said, most of these stylists have families. They have children. They may not have a husband, or some of them have a husband. So how am I going to survive? It's a survivalship. So you have to work with your staff. You got to work with your team members. It's not always all about the money. And I'm sure you, Sharon, and I know for me, it's been several times that I didn't go home with anything because I was working with my staff just to make sure our business stayed together.
Oh, cool, right?
Yeah.
I got a lot of, we can make that a whole video. How you go home with nothing and you still doing hair,
You still doing hair.
You're a hairstylist as well.
Exactly.
So,
and they go home and they don't have a headache. Right. They go home.
Exactly.
They don't have a headache that we have.
Yeah, they go right home and don't have the stress and the worries that you have about having your own salon.
No.
What do you want to leave our listening audience? Any kind of encouraging words, Marcia?
Don't give up. If it's your dream, don't give up. We're not saying don't open a salon. Just make sure that you do your homework. Take all the necessary notes that you need. Have a plan in action, and don't give up. It is not an easy. They're not easy shoes to fill, but the reward is so much greater, especially when you're able to help others. So that for me, that's my biggest reward, that I have such an impact on my staff, on my members that work with me. I have such an impact on the clients that come in because they love the ambiance or the rapport that's in your space. So salon ownership is not just about doing hair, like Sharon said. Just know that you have a purpose and a plan, that God has called you to be, and be everything that He has afforded you the opportunity to have.
That's awesome. And I want to just mention one more thing. It's not about just the money, but it's about the relationship. Yeah. And my most rewarding thing about owning a salon and having team members was to see people grow, to see where they came in. Because, we had people with us for the whole 10 years we were open. And just to see them grow. And then when one did leave, she did go and open her own salon. Yes. And just to see them grow, from little caterpillars into butterflies, and just to see them spread their wings and and know that they did get some, encouragement, some inspiration, and some motivation from all the knowledge that they learned. So I want to say thank you, Marcia, so much for imparting your wisdom and your knowledge and your expertise in owning your own several salons.
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I had such a great time, awesome experience, and I would not be any more happier to be back on your show again.
Definitely.
It was great. We had fun.
Thank you. It's just a whole bunch of layers to owning your salon. So I hope that you guys listening, please do not open a salon until you think about the mindset, the money, the marketing, the mentorship, and the members. Please don't open the salon until you think about that.